In the bustling city of Harrowton, life moved at a relentless pace, oblivious to the quiet struggles of its forgotten souls. Among them was Harold, an old man with weathered skin and a bent back, who spent his days searching through garbage bins for scraps of food. The once proud man had lost everything: his job, his home, and his family, and now wandered the streets, a ghost of his former self. One crisp autumn morning, Harold was rummaging through a dumpster behind an upscale restaurant. The smell of rotting food and waste was overpowering, but hunger drove him onward. As he dug deeper, his hand brushed against something unusual: a small, tightly sealed plastic bag. Curiosity piqued. Harold pulled it out and examined it under the dim streetlight. Inside the bag was a diamond ring, sparkling brilliantly even in the meager light. Harold's eyes widened in disbelief. The ring was exquisitely crafted, with a large, flawless diamond set in a band of gleaming platinum. It was a piece of unimaginable value, a stark contrast to his current reality. Harold clutched the bag to his chest, his mind racing. Should he try to sell it? The money could buy him food, maybe even a place to stay. But deep down, Harold knew the ring wasn't his to sell. Someone must be desperately searching for it, and returning it was the right thing to do. Meanwhile, in the towering glass and steel headquarters of Sterling Enterprises, CEO Richard Sterling was in a state of panic. Richard was a man of power and influence, known for his sharp business acumen and ruthless decision-making. But today, he was distraught, frantically searching his opulent office for a small plastic bag. Meanwhile, in the towering glass and steel headquarters of Sterling Enterprises, CEO Richard Sterling was in a state of panic. Richard was a man of power and influence, known for his sharp business acumen and ruthless decision-making. But today, he was distraught, frantically searching his opulent office for a small plastic bag. "Where is it?" Richard shouted, his voice echoing through the spacious room. His assistant, Karen, looked on helplessly as Richard tore through drawers and overturned papers. "Mr. Sterling, what exactly are we looking for?" she asked, trying to calm him down. "A plastic bag with a diamond ring inside. It's my wife's anniversary gift. I can't find it anywhere." Richard's voice cracked with desperation. The ring had been a symbol of his love and commitment, meant to rekindle the fading spark in his marriage. Losing it felt like losing a part of himself. Richard's frustration grew with every passing minute. He retraced his steps, trying to remember where he last saw the bag. Realization hit him like a ton of bricks. He must have accidentally thrown it out with some old documents. Panic turned to dread as he imagined the ring lying somewhere in a filthy dumpster. Desperate, Richard called the police, reporting the lost item and accusing anyone who might have come across it of theft. Officers were dispatched to search the area, and soon, they found Harold sitting on a bench, the plastic bag clutched tightly in his hands. "Sir, we need to talk to you," one of the officers said, approaching Harold cautiously. "We've received a report about a missing item, and we believe you might have it." Harold looked up, his eyes filled with fear and confusion. "I found this in the trash. I wasn't stealing, I swear." Richard arrived at the scene, his face a mask of anger and frustration. "That's him. That's the man who took my wife's ring," he shouted, pointing at Harold. The police officers, under pressure from the influential CEO, were ready to arrest Harold. But then, something unexpected happened. As Richard looked into Harold's eyes, he saw not a thief, but a man beaten down by life, struggling to survive. Richard's anger began to wane, replaced by a gnawing sense of guilt. He approached Harold, his voice softening. "I'm sorry. I overreacted. I should have handled this differently." Harold nodded, still clutching the plastic bag. "I was going to try to find the owner. I know how much something like this can mean to someone." Richard was taken aback by the old man's sincerity. He had been so consumed by his own loss and panic that he failed to see the humanity in the situation. He realized how easily he had judged and condemned Harold without understanding his circumstances. Tears welled up in Richard's eyes as he reached out and took the bag from Harold. "Thank you," he said, his voice choked with emotion. You've shown me more kindness than I deserve." The police officers, sensing the change in the situation, stepped back. Richard turned to them and shook his head. "There's no crime here, just a misunderstanding." Richard offered Harold a ride back to the Sterling Enterprises headquarters. As they drove through the city, Richard learned about Harold's life, his lost job, his family's abandonment, and his daily struggle to survive. The story resonated deeply with Richard, reminding him of the fragility of life and the importance of compassion. When they arrived at the office, Richard invited Harold inside. "I want to help you," he said. "You shouldn't have to live like this." Richard offered Harold a job at Sterling Enterprises, a simple position in the mailroom, but one that would provide him with a steady income and a sense of purpose. Harold accepted, grateful for the opportunity to rebuild his life. Months passed, and Harold's situation improved dramatically. He had a small apartment, regular meals, and the dignity that comes from honest work. Richard and Harold developed an unlikely friendship, each finding in the other a reminder of what truly mattered in life. The diamond ring, once a symbol of lost hope and panic, now served as a reminder of the transformative power of kindness and second chances. Richard realized that wealth and power meant nothing without compassion and empathy. And Harold, once lost in the shadows of the city, found a new sense of belonging and hope for the future. In the end, both men learned that true value lies not in material possessions, but in the connections we make and the kindness we show to one another. Moral lesson. The story teaches that compassion and understanding can bridge the vast divides between different walks of life. It illustrates how quickly we can judge others based on appearances and circumstances. Yet true humanity lies in recognizing the struggles we all face. The connection formed between Harold and Richard shows that even in moments of desperation, kindness can spark hope and change, reminding us that everyone deserves a second chance and that our actions can profoundly impact others' lives.